Hello all, this is Potato Drive. I'm currently working on a project for MCM, or Malayan Colleges Mindanao in Davao. In this video, I'll be discussing what are piecewise functions, how are we supposed to solve piecewise functions, and how I will also leave some problems for you to solve so that you can, dive in and learn a lot more about piecewise functions. Okay, so piecewise functions. What are piecewise functions? It is a function divided by multiple subfunctions where each subfunction apply to a different subdomain and are grouped together by the open parenthesis symbol. So, the difference between a regular function and a piecewise function is that whilst the regular function is defined by a single function or a single line, the piecewise function is defined by multiple subfunctions. It's basically divided into multiple parts, and where each subfunction applies to a different subdomain. So that means that each subfunction, it's basically working on parallel or similar domains to one another. And if combined all together, it makes into one big clear picture. So I'll show you a graph, the difference between a regular function and a piecewise function. So here we go. A regular function is basically anything with a straight line because it shows you it shows you that it is only one function or a singularity in mathematics. But a piecewise function is actually quite different. So since I said to you all that the piecewise function is composed of different subfunctions, meaning that they are divided but combined together they become one because they are just subfunctions. Okay, so here you go. So we get this. So it's broken down to some parts. Okay, you see here is that as you can see here, these are three subfunctions in a singular function. You can create, it's basically almost the same. They're almost connected in a way. That's as they are subfunctions in a piecewise function. So how can we create this? How can we tell that it's actual piecewise function? See, using the vertical test. See, these lines are connected. These lines are connected, same as these as well. Vertical test, meaning that these lines are basically the same when challenged vertically. Hello, so we are going to perform problem solving for piecewise functions. So here we go. Number 1. A buffet restaurant charges $120 per head for groups of n below 10. However, if it exceeds 10 individuals, the individual per head would increase to 140 php. Write a piecewise function to represent the cost in terms of individuals in a group. So let's begin. So we know that for groups below and of 10, the buffet restaurant charges 120 php. So meaning that if it exceeds 10 individuals, the individual per head will increase to 140 php. So let's begin. Let's say x. So we're going to write two subfunctions since there are two situations here. So x is lesser or equal to 10, meaning that is 120 times x for
x is people, the individuals. So x is greater than 10, it would be like this: 120 times 10 plus n minus 10 minus 10 times is times 120 plus sorry 40. So that's your piecewise function for both subfunctions. So if x is lesser than 10, lesser or equal than 10, it's 120 times x. But if x is greater than 10, then it is 120 times 10 plus x plus plus x minus 10 times 140. Okay, it's times 140. Okay. Number 3. A part-time shift worker earns 100 per day. However, if worked overtime for over 8 hours, the income per hour increases to 150. Represent this in piecewise function. Use x for hours. So, I'm going to write here first is that, so open parenthesis, since there are only two subfunctions. Oops, there we go. Fx. So, if 0 is greater than, 0 is less than x, but x is less than or equal to 8 hours, then it would be 100. It would be 100. However, if x is greater than 8, then it would be this: 100 plus 100 plus 150. 1 and 50, 1.50, 1.5. But 1.5 times x minus 8. Since anything excess of 8 hours is overtime, and overtime means an extra 150, 1.5. Okay, that is all. So thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all soon. So you might be wondering, what's this guy talking about stuff? I just want to move on from this weirdly boring lesson. Well, since you might forget about this, but it's my channel, so who cares? Education is extremely valuable. This guy said it once, so it must be true. So you, the viewer, have the capability to make your own decisions and live through its adverse effects. However, time is always against us. Soon, you'll become an adult, suffer through some things that you might not even understand. But with education, you might overcome these problems and live a life full of happiness and meaning. But still, graduation is a long ways ahead. So, for today, what decision should you take? What path should you take? One full of success due to your education, or one where you don't even know what you are doing simply due to uneducation? I can't make decision, no one can, but only you can.